Thinking about how I designed my communication course for the community college, I thought I'd answer some of the questions that were in the Designing Significant Learning Experiences, which includes looking at the situational factors because that's the first step. So I'm going to answer each of these questions step by step. Um, how many students are in my class? Typically, I have anywhere from 25 to 40 students. Um, in my online classes, they're all from different high schools. So when I do dual credit, and then I have another section for the traditional students that go to the community college. So I try to build them all the same, even though they're different types of learners. So again, in my traditional courses, they could be anywhere from 20 to 30 students, and then on the dual credit classes, they can be anywhere from 20 to 50 students, all taking the same online class. It is a lower division course. It is the required speech course that they have to take in order to fulfill their Gen Ed core requirements. Um, our classes right now are online, so it's within a 16-week period, and I try to make it to where they should be able to spend I'd say about 4 hours of the week doing their work. And I think that's plenty of time for them to complete the assignments and go through over 16 weeks. Again, it's delivered online. So I'm going to be I use the portal, but now I'm going to be using Canvas. The expectations of external groups. What are um, what do they need? What do they expect of our students? I think the biggest expectation is they need to know how to conduct. The students need to know how to conduct themselves in interpersonal context. So many students are connected to their phones and they don't know how to have a face-to-face conversation and apply appropriate skills. They also don't know how to communicate with a lot of people in mediated communication because they're constantly using emojis or text. So they don't even know how to write formal letters or formal emails um, to employers or things like that. So I think those are big things that they're expected to do um, for their day-to-day jobs. Let's see. The professional accreditation requires the affective learning goals. The accreditation requires that we cover personal responsibility, critical thinking, and teamwork. Okay, so those are the expectations that we have to do for being a Gen Ed core course. And the curricular goals that we have for our program, basically we have to make sure they learn interpersonal concepts, group and team skills, and then uh, presentational con presentational skills for speeches. Okay, going down to the nature of the subject. Is this subject matter convergent or divergent? I'm not sure about this because I think it's both. There is there is a right way to communicate, and we talk about that in our book, making sure your message is understood, making sure you check with your audience, but how to do those things vary depending on the situation. So that's why I think it's both. um, is the subject cognitive? Now, I think it is at the beginning because I think they need to know the basic concepts when we're talking about communication, but they don't necessarily use physical skills, but they do use communication skills, and in a way that is an exercise of itself. So they need to know how to use eye contact. They need to know how to use posture and space and hand gestures and things like that. So that can be physical as well. Um, is the study relatively stable? No, I think it changes, especially with mediated communication and the different ways that people are learning. Because communication, we change, and depending on the culture and society and where we're going, I think it inevitably changes, and we need to change with it. Um, so the characteristics of the learners. What is the life situation of students in the moment? Most of our students are part time students. They're working, they do have family responsibilities, they do have work responsibilities. They're not necessarily the traditional type of students because we are in a rural community, and um, from what I get from these students, because I make them do an introduction video at the beginning and tell us their background and where they're from, I can tell a lot of them are have families and they all have work obligations. Um, Only the dual credit students don't, but the dual credit students have other obligations, like they are involved in multiple activities in high school, so they do have limited time as well, and some of them are working. Um, their life or professional goals for them, most of them are to get a job. Our dual credit kids and even some of our traditional are to transfer to 4 year institutions and get a bachelor's degree of some sort. Um, a lot of them don't really have a lot of prior experiences with speech or speech communication. They all have this stereotypical idea of them standing in front of a room with 200 people and having to talk, and that's just not the definition. So I really have to work to clarify what really communication is, because when they think of speech, they think of giving speeches, and there's so much more to that. And all students have different types of learning styles, so I try to make activities that will work for all of them. Now, the characteristics of me as a teacher. So I've been teaching for over 10 years in communication. So I feel like I have a lot of experience teaching the course. I have a lot of experience teaching students from this part of Texas, and I have experience teaching dual credit students and face to face on different campuses. So I feel like I have a good sense of who my students are. I have taught this subject before. I teach it every semester, um, multiple sections sometimes a semester. I've done it face to face, distance learning, online. So I try to make sure that the course it can be transferred in any of those conditions. Um, I will continue to teach this course, and I feel like I have a high level of competence in the subject. And as things are coming about, as I get further in my education, I try to integrate more things as I see fit, because I feel like even communication and education are so intertwined, so all of those concepts are related. And then um, what are my attitudes towards the process of teaching? I am constantly evolving as a teacher, as I'm growing and I'm learning from my students, and I'm learning about, the things that are going on in our society and the issues that we're facing. I really want to try to integrate those things so the students not just read the textbook and answer questions, but they really understand how communication can apply to their everyday lives and how integral it is to being successful in any aspect of their lives, be it their family relationships, their work relationships, career relationships, or any kinds of future relationships that they're going to be having, uh, as they encounter into their next careers and jobs. So, I really think I have a good grasp on that, and I'm constantly growing and changing as a teacher. And then special pedagogical challenge. What is a special situation in this course that challenges students and the teacher in the desire to make this meaningful and important learning experience? I don't know that there's a special situation in this course, because this course is taught to all freshmen or all first year students, or maybe even second year students at the community college, into the Common Core. So I'm not sure that it's really any special situation, other than I feel like students are going to need these skills to be successful in a lot of their other courses, because so many of their other courses require them to do presentations or require them to work in teams. And so if they can learn the basic skills here, I think that they'll be successful in their other courses, adding in that course content.